Hello and welcome to Experiencing Love. I'm your host, Philip Jocks, and I'm so glad that you're here. If I had to describe how the last few days of my life have felt, and if I had to use just one word, I would probably use the word distraction. These past few days, I have felt so distracted, but in both good and bad ways. There have been many times, many instances of me distracting myself from doing work or from even spending time with family or other people. I've been pretty isolated these past few days, so I've been distracted there. But I've also found that there have been many moments of productive procrastination and productive distraction. To go a little deeper on that, I just had the last few hours of doing work. And when I look back on all the work that I just did, I found that I did not do any of what I set out to do, but I did a lot of a bunch of other stuff that I planned to do in the past. I notice, now that I look back, that I had a bunch of different seeds planted, a bunch of different ideas, and with them sitting there, they were just waiting for me to have a moment, to have energy, to be inspired to do some work, to start growing. And honestly, I think that's how I treat a lot of my tasks, a lot of my work, at least for the podcast and for YouTube and social media. I have this mindset of sowing seeds, knowing that they're going to grow and they're going to manifest later down the line. I don't know when, I don't know how, but I know they will. And today was an example of that. I went to sit down to start working on my YouTube thumbnail game. Right now it's non-existent. I have no thumbnails on any of these videos, and I don't know how much of a difference it's going to make, but I won't know until I try. And it's something that I've been putting off for a very long time. It doesn't really excite me to do thumbnails, and yet I know that when I go to look at videos, thumbnails are very important to me. That alone is enough for me to know I need to work on it. So I went to sit down to work on these thumbnails, and I laid it out in front of me. What are the steps I wanted to take to create a thumbnail? Because I also follow this mindset. If there's something that I don't want to do, find a way to either automate it or make it as easy as possible to complete. More times than not, I'm able to automate like 80% of the process. So I asked myself, how can I automate this? What can I do to make this easier on myself? It's something I don't like doing, so might as well work with myself, not against myself. So I went step by step. Okay, first I need to make a template, and then I need to know what I want to put on this template. How do I want to design it? I know I want some words on there, so where am I getting the words from? And I was like, okay, I already have workflows that go through the entire transcript of these podcasts. So I have something that's able to pick out keywords for me, pick out key quotes for me. I just need to integrate it. So I got to that point and I was like, all right, perfect. Let me look at that workflow that I already have going on. I opened that, and this is where the distraction set in, and therefore the procrastination. As soon as I looked at this workflow, I realized that the one thing I wanted in terms of generating these keywords was hidden right behind this formatting issue that wasn't that big of a deal before, but would be made so much easier if I just solved it right then and there. And so I did. I started off by fixing that issue. And that issue, or that solution, should I say, was more powerful than I expected it to be and made a bunch of other things easier to do. And when those things became easier to do, I found myself optimizing the whole thing, the whole workflow, the whole scenario. Next thing you know, it's 2 hours later. I haven't worked on the thumbnails at all, but I did solve 3 other problems I had that I've been putting off. And those were seeds that I planted before. Those were things that I planned to do, ideas I had, notes I've written down, knowing that at some point it was going to become more relevant. It reminds me of a set of quotes that I often remind myself of. One of them is, the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The second best time is to plant it today. It's this idea that when you want a tree, you want a result, you want an outcome, The best time to have started working on that outcome was in the past, long before this moment. You may want the result now, but to get this result, you have to put in the work. So if you did the work before, you'd have the result now. Most of us didn't put in the work before. So because of that, when we want a result now, we have to start working on it right now. We have to plant the seed right now. Then I'm also reminded by this second quote. And the second quote goes something along the lines of, plant trees under whose shade you do not expect to sit. Something along those lines. The idea behind that quote is all about planting seeds, setting up plans for later success, specifically success that you don't expect to even benefit from. I often hear that quote with regard to building up different things in society and benefiting later generations. But sometimes I just apply that to myself as well. Sometimes I have ideas and I set plans into motion, some of which I don't even expect to work out. And then when they do work out, it feels fantastic. I love it. I get these ideas, I have these plans, and I recognize that many of these plans may never come to fruition. I may never act on them, and that's perfectly okay. A number of episodes ago, I talked about the steps I take to having an outstanding idea and then acting on an outstanding idea, and how it's not about waiting for the outstanding idea. It's about having tons of bad ideas first. Give yourself the opportunity to have hundreds, if not thousands of bad ideas, because I truly believe that every idea can lead to an outstanding idea. Every idea can lead to a great idea. It's from those bad ideas that you get to pick out bits and pieces and come up with maybe hundreds of good ideas. Then you could take those hundreds of good ideas and pick out bits and pieces of those. And then you're left with maybe tens, if not 100 great ideas. From those great ideas, once again, take out bits and pieces, the best parts. Put those together and you'll have maybe a handful of excellent ideas. And with that handful of excellent ideas, there may be one or two things that stand out so strongly that when put together or put with your favorite excellent idea, it becomes an outstanding idea. If you're lucky, you may get one of these incredible ideas. But I also guarantee that just the first iteration of an incredible idea can still get way better. It can stand out even more. But it's not going to get better if you don't give yourself permission to have worse ideas. Give yourself permission to suck. Give yourself permission to mess up. Give yourself permission to fail. Because if you fail 1,000 times, you're no better off now than you would be then. In fact, after 1,000 failures, you have 1,000 new experiences that you can learn and grow from. If you do anything 1,000 times, how much do you think you can actually learn from it? How much do you actually think you would gain from it? No matter what, it's a win-win. Every time you have a bad idea, it's a win. Give yourself 10 bad ideas and I guarantee you, at least 2 of them would be good ideas. And whether they're bad ideas, good ideas, great ideas, sometimes it's all about just having them, noticing them, and putting them on the shelf for later. Seeing maybe that's something you never touch again, or maybe that's something that you'll be able to take bits and pieces of later. Some of these ideas that I have that I act on days or weeks later, I only act on them because within those days or within those weeks, I learned something new that makes that previous bad idea into a great idea. I learned something new that makes whatever my plan was easier to do, more fun to do, more possible to do. So sometimes it is just about having the idea and planting the seed for later, so that when you learn more and you grow more and you experience more, your past ideas make a little bit more sense. I guarantee that I have ideas now that I've shelved, that I've written in one of my 7 notebooks on my desk that will become so much more relevant later. It's just not time for me to act on them now. And that's okay. Heck, I have so many ideas every single day that I believe it is physically impossible for me to actually act on every single one of them to the best of my ability. I could definitely act on all of them, but I would probably half-ass most of it. That's not how I roll. That's not how I do things. I wish the past me can look at me now because I would genuinely be surprised by the way that my life looks, by the way that I act and I behave on the daily basis. When I was still in high school, I hardly ever prioritized learning. I hardly ever prioritized growing or experiencing the world. Now it's at the core of everything that I do. I was so worried in my younger years about just living my life and being here that I wasn't thinking about who I get to become. I wasn't thinking about the areas of my life that weren't working for me then. Kids don't really do that. Or maybe I just didn't do that. I was living life on autopilot for a very long time. And now I live for myself. I'm no longer on autopilot. I no longer let life happen around me. I let life happen for me. The things that once scared me have become easy. And the things I used to believe were impossible, well, now I see those things as possible and the things that scare me. My comfort circle grew, and I grew with it. And it's funny how all of this came from this simple idea, this simple fact that I was distracted today. I was distracted for the last few weeks. And chances are I'm going to keep being distracted. I'm in this phase now, and I'll get focused up soon enough. I won't rush it though. Instead, I'm just going to enjoy every single day because that's what this life is about. One day I'm not going to be here, and will I really regret the days that I had a good time rather than pushing myself to learn and grow more than before? I'd rather enjoy this process, not reach some destination that I know won't fulfill me. I'm filled with love. That's all I could say. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being you. I can't say it enough. I say it all the time. But I'm just happy that you are who you are because you wouldn't be here without it. And I'm lucky to have you. Remember to always fill up with the love. And I look forward to seeing you in the next one. I love you.